The Wisdom of Crowds by James Surowiecki. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, and make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. This book is about why the many are smarter than the few and how collective wisdom shapes business, economies, societies, and nations. It's an interesting one. Now, for some reason, this review was written mostly after a full listen instead of just in bits. So if it seems a little disjointed compared to my other ones, I apologize in advance. When I first heard about the idea that the many are smarter than the few, I thought back to a book that I reviewed earlier this year called The Black Swan by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. The notion behind that book is that we really just can't predict anything anymore, no matter our intelligence or wisdom. Like that the many and the few are quite naturally unable to predict things, especially now. Like things like Google and 9/11, like the highly improbable, and just how much of an impact those things have on not just everything, but particularly our ability to predict the future events of a similar size or scope of impact. Like because of that book and maybe a few others, I was under the impression that we more typically than not will hear a few details and just assume the rest of the story. That we are more often than not too passionate about the results to rationally consider the downsides or upsides of unpredictable and unpredictable or unseen variables in particular scenarios. We just don't know, most of us at the very least, that we don't know what we don't know. A lot of people you know, do you think they realize that they do not know what they're unaware of? I know that's kind of weird to think about.
That's probably not a question most people get asked nowadays.
I think this stuff, and all of a sudden I hear that there were studies and experiments and surveys and the like that the author uses to kind of confirm this for us, that those who know the most, even in a specific field, do not know as much as the collective wisdom of a crowd will. But as I considered it, like as soon as I heard it, I was like, why is that? Like, what are the reasons? A lot of them are specified by smashing the like button if you haven't already for the YouTube algorithm in the book, and there are a few examples that I heard in other books, not obviously highlighting the implications of what this book, like the value of what you could call groupthink or a mastermind, but rather examples like a Google or Wikipedia or Reddit. Maybe these are just like, here, give the power to the people. If you do that and it's regulated in ways where no one really has all that much power without fairly accumulating it and just earning it, and it's very meritocratic. Like we deserve what we get. The most important knowledge that anyone can have on a topic is like it's organized on any topic that anyone can bring up, and it can be intelligently directed by anyone who is looking for it for any cause. Anyone who, by the way, not just looks for it, but finds it where it wasn't before. There's an entire chapter about the stock market and how like social proof affects the decisions we make. And the author talks about short holders and short holding, which is like, it's like when a person buys a stock and sells it after a short period of time, like when they're too impatient, or once the CEO writes a tweet about taking the company private and raising the stock price to $420. And because of that, ultimately having to pay the SEC a $20 million fine. Because at the time it wasn't exactly doable, but several months later the company turned a breakthrough profit like never before, and all of a sudden the short holders are wondering what they did wrong. So that's a thing, but it's interesting to consider overall the diversity of things that influence us and are less under our control than that of other people's. And at the same time, they end up benefiting us. Like it's strange.
It is.
And the ending talks about democracy in this regard and the benefits, and I think downsides of it as well. But particularly, this is like socially speaking. And you know, this book also reminded me of Social by Matthew D. Lieberman, but it didn't seem to go against the grain of that book. I'm just saying this because that book illuminates the importance of social connection in like the fulfillment of what we would typically consider the human experience, if you will. So I don't know. I think that if that book and the Black Swan had a baby, it would probably be The Wisdom of Crowds. Quotes: sometimes the messier method is the wiser one. The measure of the stock market's success is not whether stock prices are rising, it's whether stock prices are right. To individuals and groups, the common good is bound to represent different things. Direction 1. I recommend this book if you really think that people in general are dumb. And I asked you, if that weren't true and there were a book about how and why, do you think you would be open to reading or listening to it? Just to kind of look at this from another perspective. And if you can see us having that conversation and you saying yes to that question, well, this is that book. Until I can find one that, in my opinion at least, more suits the validity of that argument. Direction 2. If you like this book, obviously, I recommend checking out The Black Swan by Nassim Nicholas Taleb and Social by Matthew D. Lieberman. The Wisdom of Crowds by James Surowiecki. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews, that and all the other books that I mentioned in this video as well if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it, but hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't know why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe, but if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.